Hello, my dear students. Welcome to all of you on my YouTube channel. So this is going to be the very first class in our history optional program. I have already discussed the importance and relevance of history optional in UPSC exam preparation in one YouTube video, and I have also discussed that why history optional is the best choice among all optionals. So there are some videos uploaded on my YouTube channel, and these videos will give you a better idea that why to choose history optional, okay, is a good decision in UPSC exam preparation. So today, since this is the very first class, so now we are going to start with the topic, okay. We will enter into the topics. So this is the very first lecture. So here I will not discuss about the relevance of history optional since it has already been discussed. So now we will come to the topic. But before starting the topic, I will make a few announcements. The first is that this video lecture, which will be live premiered very soon after a few days, you will see it. Okay. So this lecture is also the part of our pre-recorded history optional program. It means the history optional program, the batch history optional program in live online mode. I have already announced that I'm going to start it from 1st June 2025. Now, I hope that till June or July, history optional recorded lectures, okay, the recordings will also be finalized. So I think that the date will be announced later, but the recordings of history optional lecture will also be available for you. So that is a good thing, because many students came to me and they asked the timing of my live online batches. So the timing will be in the morning, that is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. But many students had already enrolled in the GS foundation program in various institutes, and some people are doing some jobs also, so they are unable to take live online mode classes. So they requested that it will be better for us if the optional lectures are available in recorded mode also. So I decided that I will record all the optional lectures, and those recorded lectures will also be available for you. So if you are unable to manage time to take live online batches, so you can easily go for the recorded optional lectures. Okay. And what will be the fee structure for this recorded optional lecture? So I have decided that it will be 50% less than the live online mode fee. Right now, for the first batch, for the GS foundational program, I have already discussed this in very much detail in my previous videos, that this is our GS foundational program. This is stage 1. Stage 2 is consolidation program, that is different from the foundational program. Stage 3 is revision program, that is different from these two stages. So this is stage 1, history optional foundational program. And in this program, I will discuss all the 51 topics that has been given in your UPSC syllabus. It means that these entire lectures will be in the form of topic wise lectures. It means lecture 1, lecture 2. In this way, we are going to discuss topic wise. For example, this is topic 1, sources for Indian history, but it has 3 subtopics: archaeological sources, literary sources, and foreign sources. So there will be how many videos? In first chapter, I will discuss why sources of Indian history, why is it important to know about the sources of Indian history. In the second video, I will discuss about archaeological sources. In third video, I will discuss about literary sources, and in fourth video, I will discuss about foreign sources. And lastly, there will be one more video at the end of every chapter, and there I will discuss about the historical perspectives, and I will also give some insight about the PYQs that has been asked from this chapter. It means there will be total 5 videos, okay, in one single chapter. So in this way, we will cover the entire optional syllabus. Syllabus I have already discussed in one video, so you can go to my YouTube channel, and in the playlist History Optional you will find that video. So watch that video. I have already discussed the syllabus. So the basic, what I think, the challenges which I have faced during my preparation, I think that the same kind of challenges other aspirants might be facing. Okay, so in my teaching, okay, I will try to, okay, solve those challenges. Okay, so this is one part, that topic wise lectures will be given. Okay, 51 lectures. Now it means that this video is for demo, it is like a demo, and it is also a part of our pre-recorded lectures. And in live mode, the quality of the classes will be same. It will be much better than the recorded, I would like to say, because those classes are more interactive. Okay, so it means that quality will be better, not less than this. Okay, so you can have a better idea that you should opt for my history optional program or not, right? This is one part. The second important concern of the students is that those students who are from Northeast or South India, okay, so while delivering lectures, if a teacher started using Hindi also, so that become problematic to those students who are coming from South India and Northeast. North Indian students are okay with it. Okay, they are also okay with the bilingual lectures. So I decided that the batches which are English medium batches of history optional, the entire lectures will be in English and English only. I will not utter a single Hindi word in my lecture. This I have thought. Okay, so it means that 5% scope is there, because I come from North India. Okay, so many a times we use a few words, but I will try that at least 90-95% lectures to that level. Okay, we will maintain that we will conduct all the classes in English only, right? I will try to make it 100%. Okay, but still 5% scope where I can use a few words in my classes, but 95% these lectures will be in English and English only. So this is one thing. Now the third important announcement is about Hindi medium students, right? I am taking these lectures in English medium, so I am parallelly recording entire history optional lectures in Hindi medium. Okay, and there is a very good news for the Hindi medium students, that these entire pre-recorded Hindi medium optional lectures will be free of cost, and I will put it for free on my YouTube channel, right? Hopefully there will be another YouTube channel for that, where for Hindi medium students I will teach history optional, and the second good news, I will also teach philosophy optional in Hindi, and there will be two other YouTube channels for this, for Hindi medium students. So I will upload those videos on those YouTube channels, and the links will be provided to you very soon. And all these tasks will be completed by the end of, I think that June, July. All these recordings will be completed. So this is a good news for Hindi medium students. And when I will deliver the lectures in Hindi, that will be completely Hindi. Okay, there I will try to maintain it at the level of 90% Hindi and 10% English. Here I will try to, okay, deliver the lectures in a way where it will be 95% English and 5% Hindi. This might be possible because I come from North India. Okay, so mistakenly I can use some Hindi words. Okay, so this is the idea. Now we are going to start our lecture. Okay, I think that you have got some basic idea. Okay, so in the same way I will also premiere at least 10 to 12 videos of this series on my YouTube channel, so that you could have a better idea that you should join our classes or not. Okay, now let's start the discussion. So today we are going to discuss paper 1, and in paper 1 there are two sections. One section is ancient Indian history. This also includes developments during the early medieval period. Okay, because we cannot keep the developments of early medieval period completely separated from ancient Indian history. Okay, it is very much important to separate any development, because in history you will see that there is a good linkages between these different topics. Okay, so for that reason I am saying. And now there will be section B, and that will be the medieval Indian history, right? So we are going to start our lecture from paper 1 section A, and in paper 1 section A we are going to discuss about ancient Indian history, and this is topic 1. Okay, this is topic 1, that is sources for Indian history, and archaeological sources is subtopic within this topic 1. This is subtopic within topic 1. Foreign sources is also a subtopic within topic 1. So there are total 4 lectures plus one separate lecture on historical perspective. At the end of every lecture I will discuss the historical debates at the end of every lecture. But again, another important information, that is there are total 8 lectures that I have already recorded. It is in pre-recorded format, and in those 8 lectures, that means almost 20 hours lectures are there. I have discussed in details, okay, starting from the very basic concepts, the ideas about nationalist historiography, Marxist historiography, subaltern historiography, Cambridge school. There are different schools of historiography. So I have discussed about all these schools of historiography in these 8 to 10 lectures. Plus I have also discussed about the most important historians which we should know. Okay, not only what they about their quotations, but also about their life. Okay, their achievements, their outlook to history writing, all that I have included. So there are about 20 hours lecture that will be in pre-recorded format. Obviously, those students who will take class in live mode also, they will get the recordings of those lectures, because here I will go in topic wise format. So if there is something that is needed to be incorporated within the lectures, but it is not in the form of topic wise format, so I will give recordings for that. Okay, because I have to cover this entire batch within 5 to 500, so 5 to 5.5 months. So for this reason, okay, we will have to use some techniques here. Okay, and then we will be able to complete this entire series. Okay, so this is the point here. And one more thing, that generally I don't provide printed notes to my students. Okay, because I know that the class lectures are more than enough. Okay, on the basis of these class lectures you can easily write the answers in your mains examination. I have designed my lectures in such a way, and I have the reviews of the previous students. Okay, so on that basis I am very much confident, but still I think that I will provide you some notes also, because when we are reading history optional we come across various facts, and these facts and informations may also be useful for your prelims examination. So I thought that I will provide some printed sheets, but it depends on you. If you want to read those printed sheets, okay, it's not compulsory to read. Okay, if you think that you are opting history optional and still you want to get some advantage in prelims, so I have designed, okay, printed sheets for you. For example, this is the sample of the printed notes. For example, if you are reading this printed notes, so you'll find that there are various facts here, that Charles Wilkins, right, the first translation Sanskrit word Bhagavad Gita, Hitopadesh. Okay, so you will find various facts here, and these facts are also important for your prelims exam, right? So for this purpose I will provide you. For example, Lord Curzon, important details about Lord Curzon, James Prinsep. Okay, so translations, okay, done by William Jones. So all this have been given, so you can also use these notes for a holistic understanding of your GS syllabus also. Okay, but overall I would like to say that, okay, in my optional classes generally you will not need the printed booklets. Okay, so the printed booklets are also compiled for a particular purpose, to help you in your prelims examination and GS paper. So better, okay, that what I will teach, you will learn those topics, you will maintain a running notes, okay, and you will try to write the answer of the PYQs, and in this way you are going to excel in this history optional program, right? So let's start this. Okay, so you can watch my YouTube videos where I've already recorded this video, that what should be the approach to read NCERTs and the syllabus of optional paper I have already discussed. And in this ancient Indian history segment, that is paper 1 section A, old NCERT, class 11th NCERT, that is written by R.S. Sharma. Okay, this book becomes very much important. So I've also recorded one YouTube video and put it on my YouTube channel, that what should be the approach to read NCERTs and syllabus discussion. And I've also discussed one chapter. So you can watch these two videos and you can have an insight that how to read the NCERTs. And I think that till June, the other chapters of this R.S. Sharma book, class 11th NCERT, will also be public. Okay, it will be public on my YouTube channel. So before joining the classes in first, is starting from 1st June. Okay, so I will suggest that you must watch all the videos where you will already complete this book, R.S. Sharma, class 11th NCERT. So this is going to help you a lot in your optional paper. Okay, so this is the basic idea. Okay, and this is our foundational course that we are going to start from today. Okay, and it will cover 5 to 5.5 months, and this is a demo lecture that is a part of our pre-recorded lectures. Okay, so live class will start from 1st June and the pre-recorded lectures will be available, okay, at the price of 50% less than the price that we are asking you to pay for our live classes. It means it will be almost, I think that 2,999, 3,000 के आसपास pre-recorded lectures you will get. Okay, now let's come to the topic. Let's discuss the other topics here. Okay, so now what is the topic today? So the topic is sources of Indian history. This topic we have to study, sources of Indian history. This topic is one of the most important topic in your paper 1. Okay, sources of Indian history is important for ancient India as well as medieval India, also for modern India. You will have to understand this. Okay, so sources of ancient Indian history, here we are going to discuss. We will not discuss medieval India right now, but we are going to discuss about ancient Indian history. Okay, so the first thing that we need to understand is that why sources are this much important. When I say that sources of Indian history, this is an important, okay, topic in our history optional syllabus, then the question arises that why sources of Indian history are that much important. So there is a reason. And what is that reason? Okay, so you all know some basic ideas, okay, about, there are some basic ideas that we must know before we proceed. So you will get the historiography videos later on, but here I am taking some references because without those references it is very much difficult to go ahead. So I will take first the reference of colonial historiography. I hope that you all know the meaning of colonial historiography. Something to do with the colonial rule, right? Colonial historiography means this. It has something to do with the colonial rule. Details I will discuss in the other videos, but here I am just defining it in the most simple way. We all know that India was under British rule. India was under British rule. And when we say British rule in India, so this British rule in India had two phases. One is what? Phase of indirect British rule in India. We all know this. These are the very basic informations that you all know. You already have studied the GS. So phase of indirect British rule in India, and that is from 1757 to 1858. This is the phase of indirect British rule in India. And the second is the phase of direct British rule in India. The second is what? Phase of direct British rule in India. Okay, and this phase is from 1858 to 1947. So this is the phase of direct British rule in India, 1858 to 1947. This phase is also called company rule in India. We all know this. Indirect British rule phase is also called what? Company rule in India. It means we are talking about East India Company, which was a ruling company. It means a trading company is doing what? A trading company, the nature and role of a trading company has been changed here. Now, the trading company has assumed administrative responsibility. It means a trading company has become a ruling company. And this incident is very unique in Indian history because a trading company has to do trade and commerce, right? But if the trading company will change its role, if the trading company will become ruling company, so that is a very unique incident. Okay, this incident is very unique. Now tell me that if a trading company will start ruling, is it morally validated? Yes or no? No. If a trading company will start ruling, this event cannot be morally validated. So what this trading company will do to morally validate its political power in India? Obviously it will do something, because here the trading company is not only ruling, but this trading company is ruling in an arbitrary manner. This trading company was exploiting the Indian economic resources. This trading company was also exploiting the other trading groups, the other European trading companies in India, and other local merchants in India. So this trading company is not only ruling, this trading company is also doing different, also committing different kind of violences in India. And in simple words, all these violences can be termed as corporate violence. Corporate violence. So this is the example of corporate violence that Indians were witnessing. So what the company will do? Okay. So the company will make some plans to morally validate its presence, its powers in India. And history is a very powerful tool. When I say that each and every student should know history, so there is a reason, there is a logic behind this. You see that different governments come to power. Okay. So their first agenda is what? To change the history books, right? To promote some new historians, to defame some old historians. Why they are doing all this? Because history is a very powerful tool, and this powerful tool has been utilized by political powers to validate, okay, their doings. Okay, and this is happening from the colonial period. This is not something new that we are witnessing today, okay, or in the previous comments also. Okay, I will not put blame on any particular government, but I will say that, okay, all the governments do the same. They target history, okay, and the common people, they don't understand the depth of history, right? So we should know the history. So what this colonial rule will do? This is colonial rule, na? This is direct and this is indirect. So what the company will do? Obviously, there are company administrators in India. These company administrators were Europeans. We all know that civil servants were Europeans, okay, and they will do what? For example, Jesuit scholars were there in India, okay. So they will do what? Okay, the Jesuit scholars, by the end of 17th century, okay, they started learning Sanskrit. Why I am taking the example of Jesuits? So you should realize the importance of history. The Jesuit scholars, by the end of 17th century, what are they doing? They are learning Sanskrit. They are mastering Sanskrit because they have heard that Sanskrit is the classical language in India. Okay, so if they will learn Sanskrit, these Jesuit missionaries can easily know about your history, and when they will know about your history, they can understand, okay, the nature of society, the nature of economy, okay, the law and order, everything from the your, okay, literature. They can get this idea, they can get some idea about this. Okay, so they were learning Sanskrit. So the idea is that, are they making some real efforts to promote Indian culture? So that is not the real effort to promote Indian culture. This is only a part of a propaganda that if we want to rule you, so we must know you. Got it? What I mean to say? If we want to rule you, we must know you. Okay, and to know you, it was very much important to know your language, and that's why Jesuits missionaries were learning Sanskrit. Now just come forward. You must have heard the name of Sir William Jones in GS. Most of the students have heard this name now. It was company rule in India 1757 to 1858. So we are talking about this period where there was company rule in India. You must have heard the name of Sir William Jones. Okay, this is a very important name. Okay, in prelims also you must have find the exam, the questions have been asked. He was the judge of Supreme Court in India, right? And Sir William Jones was very much interested in the languages. He was an expert of Arabic language, Persian language, Turkish language, Hebrew language, right? And what he did? Okay, he was trying to understand or establish the relationship between the European languages and these Persian languages. And this Sir William Jones, with the help of another person, the name of that person was Charles Wilkins, in 1784, he led the foundation of Asiatic Society of Bengal. This is a prelims question also. This is very much important. That's 1784, who led the foundation of Asiatic Society of Bengal. So the answer is Sir William Jones, Asiatic Society of Bengal, with the help and support of Sir Charles Wilkins, right? With the help and support of Sir Charles Wilkins. This is also a prelims fact, right? And what they will do? They will do researches about Indian history, languages, right? And they also tried to read the original texts that were written by Kalidas. For example, Sakuntalam, okay? The texts like Geet Govind, and not only read, but they also tried to translate it, okay? So this translation was also done by European people. Now just imagine that these Europeans are learning your language and they are doing translations of your classical literature. So there must be something in your history, in your culture, that they are trying to explore. Now, Charles Wilkins also did what? This second name, Charles Wilkins, again this is a prelims question. He did what? Okay, Bhagavad Gita. He did the first translation of Bhagavad Gita in English. Okay, so he translated Bhagavad Gita in English. That is also a very interesting thing. Okay, and they are publishing research papers and they are publishing all these things in India. Okay, then the next person, okay, is Max Muller. And Max Muller did what? Max Muller, okay, had a detailed study of Rig Veda, and he also studied many other sacred books in India. And finally what he did, he was a German scholar, okay, and what he did, he translated Rig Veda and many other sacred books in India. Okay, in the same way there is another name, and the name of that person is James Prinsep. This name is also very much important. James Prinsep. What James Prinsep did? Okay, so he was a company official who was working in a mint at Calcutta. Okay, and he was also the secretary of Asiatic Society of Bengal, which was established by Sir William Jones. And what he did, okay, so this person, James Princip, okay, did interpretation of the earliest Brahmi script, and he was the first person who was able to decipher that what was written on the Ashoka's edict 1837. Okay, and his assistant was Alexander Cunningham. You will also hear this name. His assistant was Alexander Cunningham. So James Princip did what? 1837. He was successful in deciphering what was written on the edicts of Ashoka. Now, Alexander Cunningham. Now, Alexander Cunningham, when he was appointed as, okay, the DG of Archaeological when Alexander Cunningham did what? Okay, he was appointed as the DG of Archaeological Survey of India. Okay, now what he did? Okay, he focused on the study of material remains in India. And when we talk about material remains, okay, it means what? Material remains means what? Alexander Cunningham say what we have connected. Alexander Cunningham focused on the study of material remains, and these material remains are the archaeological sources that has been given in your syllabus that I have recently discussed. That here we are reading about what? We are reading about these archaeological sources. This is the topic now. So material remains means what? Archaeological sources. So he focused on the study of these archaeological sources. Okay, and after this we also have studied in our GS segment in modern India about Lord Curzon. But when it comes to Lord Curzon, we all know that he was a person who focused on the protection and preservation of ancient monuments and remains. Okay, so when Lord Curzon became Viceroy of India, so what he did? Okay, now we are entering into the second phase, that is British rule in India. So British rule in India, what happened when Lord Curzon becomes the Viceroy of India? What he did? Okay, he promoted Archaeological Survey. Okay, and Sir John Marshall was appointed as DG of Archaeological Survey of India. Okay, and after this you will find that many important sites were excavated, and after some time we see that Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, 1921-22, these sites were also excavated, right? And by these excavations, explorations, okay, we got a lot of material objects, and these material objects were very much helpful to understand the course of our history. This is one part. Now, these facts are useful for your prelims examination, but mains exam is something different from this. Why I am telling you all this? Because we should clearly understand that what should be the approach to read optional. Because many times we are confused. We start reading optional like our GS paper. That's why I have always emphasized in my GS videos that GS and optional, okay, you will find there is a similarity. Here we are using the informations, but in optional you will use these informations as examples if needed. So in optional we don't need to remember thousands of facts. This is one thing. Why I am going to say that? This is one format where I've taught you that these are the various informations. Now I'm going to discuss the same thing in a different manner, and you will realize that we don't need facts. Okay, so much facts. We only need the relevant facts to cover the history optional. Now this entire discussion has given you an idea that Europeans were, okay, trying to know the history and the cultural patterns of India. So this will be helpful in doing or in fulfilling two agendas altogether. First, they will give this idea to the Indians that look here, we are interested in Orientalism. Okay, we are doing the researches on Indian history, the past achievements of Asia. Okay, and at the same time, when they will get these informations, okay, so these informations will help them to understand in a better and effective manner about Indian people, their thought, their behavior, their cultural practices. Okay, and finally what it will help them in establishing themselves as the political power in India. It means on one side, the colonial empire was carving out its empire bit by bit, and at the same time, what they were doing, at the same time, they were also trying to create or write history of India. Okay, so that is not a kind of real effort. Okay, so that we will write history in such a manner that Indians will feel or Indians will be feel glory about their past culture. This was not the very purpose. Okay, and this is the reason that when colonial historians summarized their opinion, they said that Indians did not have any sense of history. This is the idea that was suggested by colonial historians. Colonial historians are saying that in past, okay, Indians did not have any sense of history, did not have any sense of history. If you don't have any sense, it means you are nonsense. Okay, right? If I don't say it directly, indirectly, I said Indians did not have any sense of history. It means they are calling you nonsense. Okay, nonsense Indians. This is the approach, mentality of the colonial historians, because they are writing history with an agenda. Okay, so you need to understand that agenda. In the historiography lectures, I have discussed each and everything in detail. So here I am trying to keep the things simple, okay, so that you could relate. Now, the second important point is that, okay, you must have heard the name of James Mill. Have you heard the name of James Mill? I think many of you have heard the name of James Mill. Okay, and James Mill wrote a book, and this book was first published in the year 1817, and the name of this book was History of British India. This was the name of the book, na? History of British India. This was the name of book written by James Mill, History of British India. Okay, now what is interesting in this, have you ever thought that this book was published in the year 1817, and this year is what? 1817 is the period of company rule in India. So this is what you should try to establish connectivity or the linkages. What is the time period of company rule in India? So that is 1757 to 1858. And during this period, okay, James Mill's book was published. It was Company Rule in India. So what James Mill did in his book, okay, James Mill set the parameters for history writing in India. James Mill set the parameters for the history writing. James Mill set the parameters for history writing in India. So while classes, you will have to make your running notes. Okay. And once one part will be completed, like section A will be completed, there are some students whose writing speed is not very much fast. Okay, so the handwritten notes, okay, scanned handwritten notes will be provided to you. Okay, it means after completion of each and every topic, okay, I have already given this assignment to one of my student. Okay, he used to write the notes in very good handwriting, so those notes will also be provided you, but still I will request you that you should try to write. It means that classroom is the place where you also practice writing. And that's why I don't suggest or I don't use so much PPTs in my classes. Because in this way the student, okay, lacks that kind of practice in the classroom. So I will suggest you to keep writing. Listen, write, okay. And in this way you will find that, okay, naturally you will gather some confidence to write answers in your examinations. This is my humble request to each and every student, okay, that you should do writing practice also in the classroom, right? Now, the second important point, I said that James Mill set the parameters for history writing in India, okay, and James Mill was an admirer of British achievements in India, or the achievements of company in India. So at the same time, what we see that James Mill is an admirer. James Mill is an admirer of companies' achievements in India. Companies' achievements in India. So, and the second important point, James Mill is an admirer of companies' achievements in India. And at the same time, what James Mill says? James Mill says that Indians don't have any sense. Indians don't have any sense of time, okay, or change of time. They don't have this idea of change of time. James Mill says that, okay, I've studied so many texts in India, okay, and I have found that Indians have divided the time period in epochs or yugas, and the yugas are like Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, and Kali Yug. And he says that I am very surprised to know that these yugas are cyclic in nature. It means once Kali Yuga ended, again Satyug will come. Okay, once Kali Yuga will ended, again Satyug will come. So it is very much cyclic in nature. You will find that in Jain religion also there is a concept, that is Utsarpini and Avsarpini. It also indicates the same. Okay, so the Indians had a sense of understanding about time, and this time is cyclic. It means that if I am taking this class today, okay, so the same time will be repeated again. So James Mill said that I am very much confused. Indians don't have any sense of time. Okay, it means that Indians don't have, okay, any sense of writing history. Okay, this is the point one. And that at the same time, many colonial historians were also doing what? They were also trying to promote an idea, and that was the idea of Oriental despotism. And what is this idea of Oriental despotism? Oriental means from very ancient times. I am explaining it in very simple manner. Technical aspects I have discussed in historiography videos. So Oriental despotism means what? Okay, Oriental is something that is related to ancient times. And despotism means despotic rule, autocratic rule. I think that you understand the meaning of both these two words. Now the colonial writers are saying that in ancient times, not only in ancient times, but in medieval times also, in ancient times also, the rulers in India were like very much autocratic rulers. They were not guided by the idea of welfare of people. Okay, they were focusing mainly on collection of taxes from these people, and in this way they were exploiting the masses. These rulers in ancient times did not have any sense of understanding about the political system, about the administrative system, about the revenue system. Okay, and now company is ruling in India. Now the British government is ruling India, and now, okay, we as the rulers, okay, since Indians are accustomed, they are habituated of such kind of despotic ruler. So we, the British authorities, we, the company officials, are guided by the idea to promote welfare of Indians, but still Indians are not habituated of a welfare kind of government or the democratic model. So still we have to introduce some elements of autocratic rule in India, right? It means that what they are doing, they are also trying to justify their autocratic control over India, okay, in the shadow of the theory of Oriental despotism. And at the same time, they were giving the ideas of that Indians were culturally inferior and Indians are like white men burdens, okay, and we are ready to carry this burden. It means that all this is giving you an idea that what the colonial historians are doing, okay, so they are trying to demean Indian society, that is pre-British Indian society, pre-British Indian economy, pre-British Indian cultural practices, and they all are doing taking references from your own history. Okay, so this is done here. Okay, so this is the point. That's why James Mill, it is said that James Mill was also a critique of Indian society and polity. And what he is doing? Is he praising Indian society and polity during the pre-British period? The answer is no. And what James Mill did? James Mill divided the history of India. It means here James Mill, the book that was published in the year 1817, that is History of British India. Okay, in this book, James Mill did what? The division of Indian history into three phases. He did. Okay, and this division was what? He is dividing the phase like Hindu phase, Muslim age, okay, and British period. This division was used. Hindu age, okay, Muslim period, Hindu age or Hindu period, Muslim age or Muslim period, and British period. Okay, this is how he is dividing. And James Mill is not using the word Christian period, he is using the word British period. So this is what? This is a kind of periodization that is done on religious lines. So what James Mill is doing? James Mill is doing periodization of history on religious lines. So this is called religious periodization. This is called what? Religious periodization. James Mill is doing periodization of history on religious lines, and that is why this is called religious periodization. Okay, so what could be the reason behind this? What could be the reason behind religious periodization? Okay, it means that you are taking into account the history as the history of the rulers. Got it? It means if the rulers are Hindus, so you are saying that as the Hindu age, and if the rulers are Muslims, so you are saying that particular phase of history as the Muslim period. Okay, so it is very simple that so this period in history, James Mill did what? Okay, he did a religious periodization of Indian history that was based on Muslim age, Hindu age, Muslim age, and British period. Okay, so in this way he tried to describe Indian history. Okay, so three different civilizations. It means here when James Mill is doing this demarcation, it means he is indicating towards three different civilizations. Okay, and this is how this kind of history writing, okay, will be a part of their divide and rule policy, right? This is the point here. Okay, and at the same time James Mill is doing what? He is presenting Indians as backward people. I have already told that he was a critique of pre-British Indian society. He is considering Indians as the people who believe in superstitions. James Mill is also considering the political system, economic system, and cultural aspects of India as stagnant. He is not considering it as progressive. Okay, so now you can easily make this idea that this approach of history writing is having an objective to present India in a bad picture. Okay, so this is not glorifying our past achievement. So this is how James Mill categorized Indian history. So this is one paradigm shift in Indian history in the year 1817 when there was company rule. Now this is the first paradigm shift in Indian history writing. Okay, James Mill writing is considered as first paradigm shift in Indian history writing. Now the question is, what is the second paradigm shift in Indian history writing? What is the second paradigm shift in Indian history writing? This we need to understand. So the second paradigm shift in Indian history writing comes with another scholar, and the name of this scholar is Vincent Smith. And why I am calling it second paradigm? There is a reason. Okay, he wrote a book, and that is the Oxford History of India. The name of that book was the Oxford History of India, from earliest times, okay, to the end of 1911. From earliest times to the end of 1911. Okay, so I hope you are indicating the time period 1911. So this time is what? Direct British rule in India. This is also the period of crown rule in India, which we call what? Direct British rule. And what is the time period? From 1858 to 1947. This is the crown rule, direct British rule in India, 1858 to 1947. Okay. And here Vincent Smith did what? Another break in Indian history. And what he did? He presented a chronological, right, account of Indian history. Chronological account of Indian history. Okay. And when we say chronological account of Indian history, James Mill promoted religious periodization, and Vincent Smith is promoting chronological account of Indian history. Okay. So how this chronological account will be written? So here, while writing the chronological account of Indian history, the focus or emphasis was given to the Indian ruling dynasties. Right? This was the focus, Indian ruling dynasties. And what happened? The history writing with the approach where, according to Vincent Smith, history was the history of ruling dynasties, the story of rise of dynasties, the story of fall of dynasties. Okay, now this became the important focus in history writing. Now, can you think that why this approach was used at this point of time? That write history, okay, taking into account the chronological order. And here chronological order, what should be given the prime importance? The rise and fall of dynasties. It means that mainly political history was in the focus of such history writing. It means political history was the main focus here. Dynasties, okay, the matrimonial relations, different battles, when they were fought, where they were fought, these kind of facts. It means that for this scholar, history became what? Okay, collection of facts and informations, and that too related to ruling class. Okay, the commoners are avoided here. So why this much focus on the ruling class? There is a reason. And what is the reason? There is direct British rule in India. Okay, and what we see that 1885 year is the year of formation of Indian National Congress. You all know this if you have studied modern Indian history, that 1885 is the formation of Indian National Congress. And from 1885 to 1905, what we see that under the leadership of Indian National Congress, Indian national movement was in progress. Okay, and this was also the first phase of Indian national movement. And in 1905, there is an important incident, that is anti-partition of Bengal movement. And this is also the symbol of growth of Indian nationalism in India. It means now the nationalist sentiments were consolidating against the presence of British rule in India. And from 1905 to 1919, this was the second phase of Indian national movement in India. This phase was the second phase of Indian national movement in India. And here 1920 onwards, what we see, the third phase of Indian national movement in India, which is also called Gandhian phase. and in 1919-20 there is the first great mass movement in India. So this is the time period when nationalist sentiments are being consolidated. The level of political awareness of the people is rising. So at this point of time, for example, 1857 revolt, okay, who proved as a breakwaters of the storm, breakwaters in the storm for the British people in India? So the zamindars, some rulers, Indian rulers, they protected British during this revolt of 1857. The same thing. Now British authorities in India are trying to develop a class of supporters who will also advocate for the, who will always advocate for the presence of British rule in India, and this class could be the class of native rulers. So they are also at the same time trying to take the help and support of native rulers, right? So this all is happening. It means on one side there is history writing, and on another side how this colonial empire should be strengthened, how to maintain the perpetuity of colonial rule in India. So these two efforts were going on hand in hand. This is the point that you need to understand. So this is, okay, the person, okay, that is known as Vincent Smith. Okay, it means that the outlook which was used, okay, to read and understand the patterns of Indian history was very much defective. Okay, so this was the first paradigm shift. This was also a part of first paradigm shift. Second कहना उतना ज़्यादा अच्छा नहीं होगा, because here we see that James Mill and Vincent Smith, okay, more or less they are doing the same thing. Now the second paradigm shift in the Indian history writing, second paradigm shift in the Indian history writing was seen. There is a historian, the name of this historian is D.D. Kaushambi. This is one of the most important name, and D.D. Kaushambi was a Marxist historian, right? And if you are asked that just suggest two most important names in the field of Marxist historiography in India, so one name will be D.D. Kaushambi, okay, and the second will be R.S. Sharma. So D.D. Kaushambi complete name was Damodar Dharmendra Kaushambi, D.D. Kaushambi, right? So D.D. Kaushambi, this year is not important, इसको आपको याद नहीं रखना है, 1907 to 1966, okay? This is just only to give you an idea that Damodar Dharmendra Kaushambi, D.D. Kaushambi, is the most important pillar. He is the most important pillar in the field of Marxist history writing in India, okay? He was a mathematician, okay, and at the same time he was also interested in critical analysis and interpretation of history, okay? So he did what? He introduced this scientific interpretation or critical analysis, this method, in the field of Indian historiography, right? So for D.D. Kaushambi, the history was much like mathematics and statistics, okay? So this is the point here. So D.D. Kaushambi introduced a new shift, and that is one of the major shift in the field of history writing in India. And what is that we need to understand, okay? So now for D.D. Kaushambi, history is completely different, okay? He is not using the approach of James Mill, he is not using the approach of Vincent Smith, okay? So he viewed history in a completely different manner. D.D. Kaushambi viewed history in a completely different manner. Completely different manner. This was different from his predecessors, okay? And why it was different? Because he believed in the scientific interpretation of history. That is one of the most important thing. He believed in the scientific interpretations of history. Scientific interpretations of history. This he was believing on the scientific interpretation of history, okay? And for this scientific interpretation of history, what he did? First, he rejected James Mill outlook. It means the outlook of religious periodization of history. it was rejected by him. He also rejected the outlook of Vincent Smith. And what was the outlook of Vincent Smith? So writing history like it was like a chronological accounts of the dynasties. So chronological accounts of dynasties. This method was also refuted by D.D. Kaushambi, and D.D. Kaushambi also rejected the colonial historiography. Colonial historiography, he rejected the method, the claims of this approach of colonial historiography, and at the same time he is also rejecting communal historiography, colonial historiography and communal historiography. He rejected colonial historiography, communal historiography. He rejected religious periodization of history. Religious periodization is a part of colonial as well as communal historiography. He also rejected this approach that history is only chronological accounts of ruling dynasties. It was also rejected. So what is history according to D.D. Kaushambi? So according to D.D. Kaushambi, he believed that when we are reading history, we are reading Indian society. And when we are reading and observing Indian society, so we should read this. How? So how we should read this? So according to him, society is held together by bonds of production. This is the approach of D.D. Kaushambi. So according to D.D. Kaushambi, when we talk about society, so this society is held together by bonds of production. This society is held together by bonds of production. This is the point, that the society is held together by bonds of production. It means we need to understand what the successive developments. We need to understand the successive developments, or you can say that we need to understand the changes that took place, okay, in the past. We need to understand, okay, and how we can understand. So we can understand it only in the means of relations of production. It means when we will apply this method of relations of production, so in this way we can get a better idea of the successive developments in history, whatever has happened in history. And when he say this, he also say that not only ruling dynasties should be considered important in history, but we should also consider prehistory equally important. Now look at the progressiveness of this historian, that the historian is saying that we should also do equal treatment to the pre-literate history. It means we should, okay, do what? We should also read the cultural developments that took place in prehistory. And when we'll start reading history from the prehistory, so we'll come to know that history, okay, history can be viewed in terms of the conflict between different classes. Obviously, it is going towards shifting towards Marxist trend. So he is saying that when we should view history, so history should be viewed, history should be viewed, okay, in terms of conflict between classes, in terms of conflict between classes, okay. So we all know, okay, about Marx, okay, the methods communism, okay, what Marx talks, that how the exploitation was continued from the ancient time. We all know the theory of Marx, that ancient India, medieval India, modern India, okay, the conflict, the society, the nature of the society. This I have already discussed in world history, and in part of historiography I will do the discussion in very much detail. Clear? So he is saying that the history is what? The history of conflict of class. And here he is using the method, and that method is called dialectic materialism. Dialectic materialism. So this method of Marx he is using to explain the concepts of history. But when Didi Kaushambi started using Marxist method to do interpretation of history, he was not an orthodox believer in Marxist model. Got it? First, he explains that why we are using this scientific method to explain the developments in history. There is a reason. He says that when we talk about the developments in prehistory or developments in early Indian history, so generally there is a lack of relevant data, and there are various, you can say that, evidences which are conflicting in nature. So until unless we don't use a scientific method of interpretation of past, so in that situation understanding history, that is history of the early period, will be very much difficult. Okay, so if you want to understand history, especially ancient Indian history, so you should not give more emphasis to small scale events. You should not give more emphasis to small scale events. You should give more importance on, or you should focus on analyzing the wide social formations. This you should do. Okay, it means when you are reading history, okay, so you should focus to analyze the wide social formations. Okay, and when you will do this, you will get a complete picture of history. So that is very much important. Okay, so that is the idea of, okay, Didi Kaushambi. And when we talk about wide social formations, what does this mean? It means, for example, we are trying to learn about early Indian society. Okay, so we must understand that our society in its initial phase was a kind of tribal society, and gradually what happened, there was a transition phase. Okay, and in this transition phase, okay, what happened, okay, we there is a journey, and this journey is from tribe to caste. Okay, so you need to understand this journey, that tribes, after tribes, how clans came into origin. Got it? How castes came into origin. You need to understand all this. First you need to understand the tribal society, the small localized communities, right, and how the relations develop between these small localized communities. Okay, domestication of animals, right, agriculture, how it started. Okay, and how domestication of animals and agriculture, how it had affected the relations between this society, how this tribal society, okay, destabilized, and gradually, okay, this tribal society, from this very tribal society, what we see, that it gave rise to clans, and then clans further give rise to caste. Okay, so this is a journey, transition. So you need to understand wide social formations, the journey from tribe to clan to caste. Okay, so when you are reading history like this, so you are focusing on the wide social formations when you read history like this. Okay, so entire course of history we should read in this manner. Okay, on the basis of this wide social formations. Okay, and caste is one of the most basic fact in Indian history. Okay, so what Didi Kaushambi is doing, okay, again I am explaining that these are the most simple informations. Technical aspects I have already included in my 20 hours recorded videos, where I will discuss the core technical aspects of Indian historiography, that will be given to you once you enroll in our courses. Now what I see here is that Didi Kaushambi, when he is following that Marxist model, so he's not a, you can say that, strict doctriner. He is not a propagandist, or you can say that he is not a blind follower of Marxist methods. Because what we see, that on one side, okay, he is adopting the Marxist method of scientific interpretation of past, okay, to get away with the previous model, that is religious periodization and chronological account of history. Now he is coming with the scientific interpretation of past. So at the same time, dialectic materialism he is using, but there is a theory of Marx that is called Asiatic mode of production. So this Asiatic mode of production, this was rejected by D.D. Kaushambi. Then the concept of slavery, the Marxist idea is also refuted here. Okay. D.D. Kaushambi also denied the presence of serfdom in India. Okay. But D.D. Kaushambi adopted the concept of feudalism in Indian context. He accepted the concept of feudalism in Indian context. So what do we see? That some of the core Marxist principles or beliefs were rejected in Indian context, because the society of India and the society of Europe is completely different. I've already told you that when Jawaharlal Nehru talks about revolution, he says that in India, when we talk about revolution, Jawaharlal Nehru declared that I am a socialist. But he says that revolutions in India are different from revolutions in Europe. We don't need to copy Europe. In India, the revolutions are the social revolutions. You will see that the Marxist historians in India are also more or less following the same approach, and that is why they are not blind followers of Marxist methods. Okay, they are not the following the dogmatic approaches of Marxism, that in any condition they are going to apply it. No, in Indian conditions they find that some ideas are not very much practical and they also reject it. Okay, and this is equally true about R.S. Sharma. I have already discussed in NCERT video, and today I will also discuss, okay, about R.S. Sharma, about S. Nurul Hasan, okay, Romila Thapar, Irfan Habib. All these are the Marxist historians. Okay, I have already discussed in details in my pre-recorded lectures. Now what I mean to say here is that D.D. Kaushambi is the person who introduced a second paradigm shift. It means now when you will write history in this manner, so history will not be the history of ruling dynasties only. History will include broad parameters. Got it? You will read society, you will read economy. Okay, you will read different aspects of history. History is not mere accumulation of facts. Got it? So this is the idea of D.D. Kaushambi. Okay, so now I hope you are getting my point. Okay, so Marxist historiography, okay, it has a very important contribution in history writing in India. Because what happened, that during this colonial rule, during this British rule, for example, you must have read about economic history in India. Dada Bhai Nauroji and all this. Padha hoga aapne, Drain Theory of Wealth and all this in your general studies classes. Okay, so when we were fighting for India's independence, it means that you will find that 1885 to 1947, okay, is the period of freedom struggle for India. You will find that the nationalists were the early nationalists, and they started exposing the economic exploitation done by British in India with relevant facts and informations. They did this. Okay, they rejected communal historiography, and that was of great help to India, because after 1947 there was independence and partition both at the same time, and Hindus and Muslims, okay, they were insecure, okay, because this partition was this partition was not bloodless. Okay, a lot of violences were there. So this all we see that, okay, so Marxist historians see what, though religious periodization, chronological accounts, all this they rejected. Okay, and they will try to write history, okay, in a broad sense. Okay, so there is a wide divergence of views among the Marxist historians also, but still this Marxist historiography is very much important. So here, political history, yes, it is important to know political history. We must know that what are the different phases in Indian history. That is very much important. But here, apart from the political history, importance will also be given to economic history. Importance will also be given to the history of the society, education, culture, art and culture, all this. It means the study of broad social and economic systems were undertaken by this Marxist historiography. It means history is not only the account of the actions of one individual, one statesman, or one ruling dynasty, but history should be understood in its broad framework. That means social, economic, and political changes, okay, must be understood. Got it? And for this reason, what is needed? An interdisciplinary approach is needed or required. So, Marxist historiography and scientific interpretation that was done by these Marxist historians, it promoted a kind of interdisciplinary approach where we see that various sources were used to explain these wide social formations, right? Archaeological sources, literary sources, foreign accounts, literature, linguistics, anthropology, numismatics, coins, various, you can say that, sources were used here. Okay, and that is why sources becomes very much important. Okay, for example, material remains. Recognizing the importance of material remains is also one of the most notable feature, and Didi Kaushambi did this. Okay, he recognized the importance of material remains. Got it? So I think that you have got some idea about history writing. Okay, now another important point here is that, okay, when we talk about history writing, okay, so the another important name, I have already recorded a video, but this video is in Hindi about S. Nurul Hasan, you will find. So you have some idea about Didi Kaushambi now. Didi Kaushambi, will he give emphasis to the material remains? Yes. Archaeological sources? Yes. The study on prehistory? Yes. Prehistory will also be given importance. Got it? Archaeological sources, explorations, these will also be given importance. Okay. When you will read about S. Nurul Hasan, that is another important historian, S. Nurul Hasan, you will find that the views are very much similar. When S. Nurul Hasan, okay, S. Nurul Hasan is known for writing history also, and is also known for shaping history. And according to S. Nurul Hasan, what should be the aim of history? So, aim of history should be to build a society that is free from religious or sectarian violences and bitterness. This should be the aim of history. Okay. And S. Nurul Hasan also talks that there should be what? Scientific interpretation of history. He is also adopting the Marxist methodology, and he is saying that when we talk about history, so history should incorporate various aspects of life. History does not mean only political history. History also means economic history, social history, religious history, cultural history. Right? S. Nurul Hasan also rejected colonial history. S. Nurul Hasan also rejected, okay, the communal history. Got it? S. Nurul Hasan also rejected, okay, Hindu fundamentalism. That is also a part of communal historiography, because according to S. Nurul Hasan, this Hindu fundamentalism was favoring a unique cultural approach to Indian history. It means that the unique cultural approach to Indian history, the unique cultural approach to Indian history, this approach was rejected by Marxist historians. Unique cultural approach to Indian history. And that is why when you will read Indian history, you will find that wherever there are cultural interactions, so these cultural interactions, the topics which are related to these cultural interactions are very much emphasized by these Marxist historians. For example, Alexander came to India, cultural interactions. Greeks, cultural interactions. Sakas, Pehlavas, Kushanas, cultural interactions. Arabs came to India, cultural interactions between Arabs and Indians, right? Turkish invasions, okay, Mughals in India, they will focus on cultural interaction. Bhakti Sufi cultural interaction, they will focus on this. Indo-Islamic architecture, they will focus on this. So when you will see the Marxist historians, they will say that when we talk about Indian culture, so this Indian culture is not a uniculture, like, okay, uniculture approach of Indian history, that is Hindu. When you are saying Hindu age, it means you are adopting unique cultural approach to Indian history. When you are saying Hindu age, it's not Hindu age, because this word Hindu or the Hindu religion, it took thousands of years to take this shape of Hinduism. It was not present from the ancient times or the earliest times. The most popular cultures that are associated with Hinduism, okay, are not present in Vedic cultural phase. So he's saying that when we talk about a culture, okay, so when you talk about India, so it means that in India there were different linguistic, okay, sub-nationalities who were living together, and they all were trying, okay, to make India, to shape India. So this approach was followed, okay. And Nurul Hasan also rejected the Oriental despotism approach. Obviously, it is the colonial approach, okay. Nurul Hasan is also favoring what? A kind of multidisciplinary approach in history writing. Nurul Hasan did what? He focused on the regional studies. Nurul Hasan did what? He is also focused on reading he is also focused in history to examine the relations between ruling classes and the commoners. What are the different layers of the ruling classes, right? What is the relations between these different layers of the ruling classes, okay. So this is the point here, that the Marxist historiography is trying to understand and interpret history in a scientific manner. This is the point. Now the another important name here is R.S. Sharma. R.S. Sharma. So when we will read this part, that is section A of paper A, so largely, okay, we will build our superstructure on the basis of Foundations of R.S. Sharma, that is NCERT class 11th NCERT book, okay. So on that base or platform, we are going to build the superstructure. So this historian is going to be very much important to us. And when you will read some, you don't need to read the standard books. There are many books written by R.S. Sharma, so I will incorporate the most important developments. There is one book written by R.S. Sharma, that is Economic History of India. Now, is it clear that history does not mean only history of the ruling dynasties, okay, or the political history? It also means economic history. R.S. Sharma wrote another book, that is Shudras in Ancient India. It means what? Okay, it means subaltern will come later, but before this, what we see, that R.S. Sharma, the Marxist historians, had started this trend of writing history from the below, okay. And for this, many people will start criticizing R.S. Sharma. He focused writing on the Shudras, okay. He has done extensive work on the Shudras, so people will start saying R.S. Sharma as Shudra Sharma, okay. So you see, when R.S. Sharma write the book Shudras in Ancient India, it means he is also trying to do interpretations of the wide social formations in India, like it was suggested by D.D. Koshambi, right? On Indian feudalism, political ideas and institutions in India, he has also written an excellent book, that is Aspects of Political Ideas and Institutions in Ancient India and Indian Feudalism from 300 AD to 1200 AD. This also suggests that according to R.S. Sharma, it is also important to understand the political system of administration, Indian feudalism in India, okay. So now the entire motive of this lecture is what? To make you understand that history is not mere collection or accumulation of facts. History is much different from that. And when we read optional history, it is much different from the general studies history. And you will realize it in many other classes, okay. that how to read history for optional. And you will find many of you have already taken classes in various institutions. Okay, so you will realize the quality and difference and the impact that I will create in teaching history optional. Okay, so this is the point. Now, Arish Sharma himself writes that history means what? We need to know about political history, social history. We need to understand the economic processes. We need to understand the forms of property. We need to understand the status of women also, the status of Varna also in Indian society. It means that the outlook, for example, it might be possible that in history optional exam, you might get a question that discuss the gender perspective, okay, in Buddhist teachings or Buddhism, gender perspectives in Buddhism. Okay, so this is not a question from political history. So you will find that from 1990s, 2000, 2010 onwards, you will find so many questions are asked in history optional paper that are related to these areas. But still, what I have observed, because when I am teaching you optional, obviously I am familiar with whatever is being taught everywhere. Got it? Okay, I have already an idea. So what I find that 90% people are teaching still in the most traditional manner. Okay, in the initial 2, 3 or 4 lectures, they will say that we are using a very different approach, interdisciplinary approach, but you will find that just attend 10 classes and you will find the reality. Okay, so I'm not criticizing anyone, but I'm just suggesting you, okay, not as a teacher, but like a family member, if you are joining any class for optional subject, because optional still plays the most important role in your selection and, okay, deciding the rank. So whenever you are joining any optional, when you are opting for any optional or joining any institute, just ask a few simple questions to the teacher first. Total number of topics that are given in the syllabus, will it be discussed by you or not? You will discuss it or not? First question. You will find that 80-90% teachers, they don't cover the entire syllabus. Okay, instead they will distribute printed notes to you that you can read this. You will say that no, we can read it later, but this is your task to discuss, because when I will discuss, you will get so many ideas. For example, you are just listening to my lecture. If I will come and start dictating ki likhna shuru kar do, let's start writing, do you think that will it develop a kind of analytical approach and critical outlook in your thoughts? No, never. Okay, because entire time you are busy in writing the notes, maintaining the roads, so you will miss the entire idea. So that is why I always emphasize that interactions are very much important. I started teaching online for the last 5 to 6 months. Okay, and this is the reason that I'm teaching for the last 8 years, 10 years, but I never favored that I should go for online teaching, because I found myself very uncomfortable. Okay, how I will discuss the themes. So I practiced a lot to teach online. Okay, it was almost impossible for me to teach without any student, but I think that now you can realize ki main kar pa raha hu ye. Okay, so this is one of the biggest achievement of my life, that now I can teach on camera without the students, and that gave me the confidence that I will give a lot of things to the students community. And that's why I said that I will teach history optional in Hindi medium, philosophy optional, and all I will upload for free on my YouTube channel. So this is the thing that I learned in these 5 to 6 months. So in our life, we come across different phases, and we should take lessons from those phases. We should learn new skills. Okay, so I think that I am very much comfortable, okay, without audience also, right? But still I say that the live online classes are always better. Okay, so it's okay, it depends on you. You will have to compromise something, right? Now, the second important point, I was talking about Arish Sharma. So Arish Sharma also uses that model, historical materialism. The same model was used by D.D. Kaushambi also. Okay, and Arish Sharma is also doing what? He's studying the dialectics of modes of production, like D.D. Kaushambi, right? Arish Sharma is also focusing on production, like society's ability to produce surplus. And on that society's ability to produce surplus, what R.S. Sharma did, okay, he designed a model that is multi-pronged analysis. And in this multi-pronged analysis, while writing history, R.S. Sharma is writing about the status and concerns of the Shudras, different stages of economy, landmarks in the evolutionary processes of state formation. He also writes about rise and fall of urban centers in India. He also writes about emergence and dissemination of feudalism and other phenomena, right? Mode of production, theory of surplus, how this theory of surplus was responsible for the class formation. This entire things were explained by R.S. Sharma. Okay. For example, D.D. Kosambi said what? That we need to understand social formation, that how tribes, okay, gave birth to clan, clan gave birth to caste. And now R.S. Sharma is saying that we need to understand that how subsistence economy converted to surplus economy. How was it possible to mobilize the workers, okay, to work, or to motivate them to produce surplus? Because we all are lazy people. काम चल रहा है तो हम और काम नहीं करना चाहते. Like we are talking about subsistence. कि if the economy is subsistence economy, people are producing as much as they need. So why will they produce surplus? Okay. So this we need to understand. What are the different factors that produced people, that motivated, encouraged, or forced the people to get the surplus stage? This is the point. Okay, so this is where R.S. Sharma is doing what? Okay, he is saying that when there will be a surplus economy, so this surplus economy will be able to support whole time administrators, because the whole time administrators or ruling class will need an entire administrative machinery. The rulers will need professional soldiers. The rulers will need full-time priests. Okay, state economy will be promoted when there will be diversification of crafts and craftsmen, right, and other specialists in the economy. So that is the point, that how subsistence economy got converted to surplus economy. This we need to understand. Got it? This is the point. Now you will see that the similar methodologies was used by some other historians also. Now I am coming to discuss some of the most important ideas here, whatever we have discussed here. Okay, this is one part. Now in this entire discussion, what I mean to say is that we are going to read about early Indian history. We are going to read about early Indian history, and this early Indian history is suffering from this challenge, that is paucity of sources, or sources are insufficient. This was one of the major challenge. And how should we consider this early Indian history? Should it be considered on the basis of religious periodization? No. Is it only the chronological account of ruling dynasties? No. So we need to understand the wide social formations. And in order to understand this wide social formation, we also need to study prehistory, right? We also need to study what? Prehistory. Now you must be surprised, this is a new word. What is prehistory, proto-history, and history? Okay, so prehistory, proto-history, and history, these are three words: prehistory, proto-history, and history. Okay, so there are different bases for the division. In GS generally you read about basis of script and languages. So there are two general methods. There are other methods as well. One is script, okay, and one is agriculture. So I am going to explain on the basis of script only. ठीक है, तो कहीं पे अगर agriculture सुनो तो that is not अतरंगी सतरंगी. We are going to explain on the basis of script here. So prehistory means what? Prehistory means the phase of history where there are only archaeological sources or material remains. On the basis of this material remain, we came to know about the cultural pattern of that society. This is the only thing that we have. ठीक है? That is the phase of history. It means, what about the written records or the documents, or was it a literate society? So the answer is no. Okay, it means if scripts are absent, if there are no scripts, so that phase will be considered as prehistoric phase, right? It means that the only source to know about the cultural developments of this phase is what? Material remains. Got it? And there are no written records. So on this basis, we will consider that, okay, Stone Ages was what? Prehistoric phase. And when we say Stone Ages, it simply means we are talking about Paleolithic period, we are talking about Mesolithic period, we are talking about Neolithic period, we are also talking about Megalithic cultural phase. This chapter is included in your syllabus. We will discuss it later, but this is just the first class. Okay, so I will have to introduce a lot of things, so don't be confused. यहाँ परेशान नहीं होना है, okay, because there are a lot of things that we need to understand. So obviously, ठीक है, this is what just brainstorming session. We are entering into the chapter, and since this is ancient part, we are completely unaware about the development, so we need to know. So this phase. Now what is proto-history? Proto-history, it means that, okay, material remains, yes, they are the important source to know about the history. And what about the written records? So you will say that written records or script, this script is available, but there is an important challenge. And what is the challenge? So the challenge is the script has not been deciphered. Script is available, but this script has not been deciphered. This is the challenge, that there is the availability of a script, but the script has not been deciphered. Are you getting my idea? There is a script, but a script has not been deciphered. Okay, so this phase in history is called proto-history, and on that basis, which phase of history will be considered a proto-history? So the answer is Indus Valley civilization, which you also known as Harappan civilization, and this is also known as Bronze Age civilization. Got it? Bronze is what? It is an alloy, and here copper plus tin is equal to what? Bronze. So it is a much more comparatively more developed stage. Okay, I will discuss this in detail later. So that is proto-history. Now, what is history? Again, history means what? Material remains are important source, okay, to know the history. Plus at the same time, what is the written records? So you will say that written records are available, and we have also been successful in deciphering those written records. This is the point. Okay, written records are available, and we are also successful in deciphering those written records. So this is one base of division. Got it? So this is one base, that written records are available and we are successful in deciphering those written records. Got it? Now the next important part here is that when we talk about here written records, Indus Valley civilization, you know, there is a script that is known as pictographic script, okay, and it is written in Burst of Eden style. In Indus Valley civilization chapter we'll discuss. So here there are, one part is what? Oral tradition of knowledge, and the second is written records. Now there is a question that oral traditions of knowledge, okay, for example, you will find that many literary texts of Vedic period were a part of this oral tradition of knowledge. They should be considered as a literary source or not? So the answer is yes, they can also be considered as a literary source. So this is one point. I hope you have got the idea. Okay, so 99% of the phase of human history is what? 99% of the phase of human history is prehistory. Okay, this is the longest phase of human history. 99% of phase of human history is prehistory. Only 1% of phase of human history is what? History or proto-history. 99% is prehistory. Okay, so here also you can read, for example, in geography, In the very beginning of the chapter, you will come to know about this developments anthropology. You will read about this. Okay, so here we need to have some simple informations that I will discuss in the classes. Now 1% is what? Okay, history. Now there are two important points. One is primary sources of history and secondary sources of history. What is the meaning of that? So primary sources simply means that, okay, for example, you are trying to construct some opinions or ideas about history, and in that process you are using some material remains, right? Or you are using some first hand sources, okay? Or you are trying to decipher the Indus script if you are trying to do this, okay? So it means that you are using what? Primary sources. And what is secondary sources? Okay, so in order to form an opinion of history, if we are using those sources which has already been used, so that is known as secondary sources. Okay, so the archaeological remains here are what? Primary sources of history, and they are also the most authentic sources. Okay, and the literary sources, archaeological sources or material remains are the primary sources, and they are the most authentic sources in history. And the literary sources, okay, they are primary sources as well as secondary sources. It depends. So that is primary source also, and that is secondary source also when we talk about the literary remains. Okay, now you have got some idea that, okay, the entire discussion is focused, okay, to make you understand that history does not mean mere accumulation of facts. In history we have to read a lot of things. Okay, now the second part, the sources of Indian history, why they are important. Okay, so in order to do scientific interpretation of history, obviously the sources of Indian history are very much important. Okay, and we need to know that. And in prelims also you will find that now UPSC is asking so many questions that are related to the sources of history. Now in this chapter there are three subtopics given in this chapter. First topic is archaeological sources, and in this archaeological sources, what are the subtopics given? So one is exploration. You need to be very careful about the syllabus and the topics. So that's why I am emphasizing again and again ki you can choose any teacher to get guidance in optional, but the condition is that topic wise lectures, there is always the real progress comes in successive stages. Always believe in that. So first stage is that you should be familiar with the syllabus. You should have knowledge of each and every topic. You must have discussed each and every topic. And then the second phase is consolidation phase. And in that consolidation phase, if you will start practicing PYQs, you will find that whatever the knowledge you have gathered in the previous stage, all this will be, okay, connected with each other. You will gather more confidence of writing the answers. So knowledge always comes in successive stages. So there is no any shortcut. Don't try to find shortcuts, right? Always believe in a solid preparation. Okay, you can give 1 or 2 months extra time, but if in a single go, if you are able to complete your syllabus in an effective manner, that is a great achievement for you, right? So you should be aware as a student also. Okay, and we as the teachers should also consider that this is our responsibility, okay, to teach the module in proper manner so that the students will not be confused. Otherwise many students, they jump to preparation, and after some time what they see, that they say that no, it's hamare bas ka nahi hai. Okay, many a times many students opt one optional, they find it difficult, they go for another optional. No any optional is different if the teacher works in a right and proper manner. Each and every optional you can do better, but it depends on two things, that the student, okay, should be aware. Okay, they should be very much aware about the syllabus, about the topics, about the practice, self study, and the teacher should also be committed to provide the quality lectures. So if these two parameters will match, so each and every optional is an excellent optional. So one is exploration, the second is excavation. It means we need to understand some basics of explorations, excavations, horizontal digging, vertical digging, so many things are there. We need to know about epigraphy in your syllabus. We need to know about numismatics, okay, and we need to know about, okay, monuments. So these are the topics that has been included. So this will be lecture 1A. That is the next video. The second topic is literary sources. Literary sources. And in literary sources, again, it has been categorized that indigenous sources. What are the indigenous sources? And in indigenous also there is a two division, primary source and secondary source. So we need to understand what is that. Got it? In indigenous sources, there is, you will find that there is two kind of sources. One is religious literature and secular literature. So you also need to understand that in indigenous sources, what is religious literature and what is secular literature. Okay, there is another index that says poetry, a basic idea about scientific literature, a basic about idea about literature in regional languages, for example Sangam literature, okay, regional literature. And the third topic, this will be the lecture number 1B, and the third topic is foreign accounts. The third topic is foreign accounts, right? And here you need to know about Greek, Arabic and Chinese accounts. So this will be the lecture number 1C. So these are three different chapters. Now you will find when you will look at the PYQs, since this is the very first class, so I am just giving you some insights that whenever UPSC asks the question, okay, they have, okay, different variety of questions which they ask. For example, sometimes they ask topics that come directly from the topics that are mentioned in the syllabus. For example, in 2024 there was a question about Agraharas. If you look at the paper, you will find, and that is a topic that is directly mentioned in your syllabus. There is a question Pallava Chalukya conflict in 2024 mains paper. You will find that topic is directly mentioned in your syllabus. So what I am saying, that some topics are the topics, okay, which are directly asked from the syllabus. These are simple and straightforward questions, okay, where a particular theme is selected and directly the questions are asked. Now there is another model of question that is called interdisciplinary approach based questions, okay. And what is this interdisciplinary approach based question? When such kind of questions are asked, so there are basically three things that are needed. First is what? A basic understanding is very much important everywhere. The second is, for example, I'm just giving you a question, okay, just reading the question so you can have some idea, okay, about this question, that ancient Indians had no test for historiography. Their scholars cared more for religious, spiritual and philosophical studies. Indian historiography is essentially an Islamic heritage. Again, I am repeating the question. Ancient Indians had no test for historiography. Their scholars cared more for religious, spiritual and philosophical studies. And Indian historiography is essentially an Islamic heritage. It means what? You must know that, okay, basic understanding of historiography that is needed, that is generally skipped from the classroom discussions. That's why I have recorded separate lectures. Plus, you must know ancient Indian historiography, the trends in ancient Indian historiography. Got it? You must know the basic trends in medieval historiography, okay, and then you will be able to answer this question. Got it? So this is how this is called interdisciplinary approach based question. Got it? The topic is what? Sources of history. But ancient historiography and medieval historiography both has been connected together, and now you have been asked how you should write the answer. This is one point, okay, that is the point. Now थीम बेस्ड क्वेश्चन, चैप्टर बेस्ड, इट मीन द सोर्सेज ऑफ हिस्ट्री, ये इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है. देर आर मोर देन 50 most important questions in your syllabus from this chapter, sources of history. This is a chapter, separate chapter, but there is another chapter, that is pre and proto history, stone ages chapter, and here you need to know about Neolithic period. Now suppose there is a question that Neolithic age as Neolithic revolution. Okay, if you are writing this answer, if the question is related Neolithic age, do you consider Neolithic age or the achievements of Neolithic as the Neolithic revolution? So if you will write the answer of this question, so obviously you will take help of what? Material remains, and these material remains are the archaeological sources. So obviously when we'll discuss Neolithic period, we will discuss material remains, archaeological sources. Got it? So again, this chapter is related to sources of history, but it has been asked from the second chapter. It means that this is what different chapters connected with each other. For example, if there is a question that archaeological materials, how they are helpful in understanding, okay, the progress of Neolithic man in India. What does it mean? Sources of history, archaeological sources plus Neolithic period. Okay. So in this way, various topics has been combined with each other. Okay. For example, suppose there is another chapter, Indus Valley civilization, and there is a question in mains examination, and the question is discuss the significance of seals and ceilings in the reconstruction of socio-economic and religious life of Harappan people. Now what you find here? Seals and ceilings, they are part of what? Material remains, archaeological sources. And second part is what? How they are helpful in explaining what? Social, economic and religious life of people. And that is the approach. I told you that history does not mean only political history. It also means history of society, history of religion and history of economy. Got it? Okay. Suppose there is a question that write a short essay about the external trade of Harappans. Got it? So obviously Harappan people were doing trade with, okay, Mesopotamia, Egypt. How we came to this information, know this information? So there is a literary evidence, but that literary evidence is not Indian literary evidence. Dilmun Magan Meluha context I will discuss in class. So in this way you will come to know that how literary evidences and archaeological evidences, the questions are asked in each and every chapter from the sources of history. For example, in Vedic period there is a question, archaeology knows of no Aryans, only literature knows of Aryans. Aryans means related to something Vedic period. Examine it. Okay. Again what? Archaeology and literature, it means sources of history. The basic idea is that I want to say here, okay, that sources of history in our classes we will get an idea of this chapter 1, sources of history, archaeological, literary and foreign sources. Now when we will move ahead in different other chapters like stone ages, when we will discuss in detail, when we will discuss Indus Valley civilization, Vedic period, Mahajanpad era, Mauryan period, okay, later Mauryan period, Vedic period, okay, post Gupta period, early medieval phase. When we will discuss all this, so in all these chapters you will find questions that are linked with sources of history. Got it? So this you need to understand, that this stone age, the periodization I will discuss, Indus Valley civilization, the mature stage is 2350 BC to 1750 BC. Vedic cultural phase, this is 1500 BC to 600 BC period. All these are the topics from general studies. I've already uploaded, I think that 10 videos in ancient Indian history module on my YouTube channel, so you can watch those videos. Those are very excellent videos. There you will get a comprehensive idea. So if you read that, it will be helpful in optional. And one important update, that I've already uploaded GS Foundation courses for modern Indian history. There are total 56 lectures covering the history, okay, from East India Company or companies, foreign companies in India, advent of Europeans in India to 1947. So there are total 56 lectures, and that will give a comprehensive outlook of entire history. Or that is in the format L1, L2. The theme of the topic has not been mentioned on the thumbnail. So when you will watch the videos, watch the entire 56 lectures. This will give you a very broad understanding of modern Indian history, and you will also get an insight that what is my method of teaching. Ancient Indian history video, when you will watch, you can get an idea that what is my method of teaching. So much demo is not provided by any other teacher. Okay, I will also upload so many other videos also. Okay, so you will get hundreds of demo videos, and then you should decide that you should opt my history optional course or not, right? Now, Mahajanpad era is the time period that is 600 BC to 300 BC period. Mauryan period, okay, this is 400 BC, 300 BC period, both, because there are different, you can say that, explanations by different historians. So you will find some variations. I write here 300 BC, 200 BC period, later Mauryan period. We will shift here from BC to AD, that is 200 BC to 300 AD. Then this is Gupta period. Okay, so I am writing here 300 AD to 500 AD, or it can also be 550 AD. Then post Gupta period, you can write 500, 550 AD to 750 AD, right? And this early medieval period, 750 AD to, we can write here 11th, 12th century AD. This is the entire development. And in each and every chapter, you will get questions from the sources of history. For example, I am just giving some hints or indications, okay, not writing the full questions. For example, there was a question that was related to the changing approaches to study early Indian history. Obviously, historiography knowledge is needed. If I will trim the historiography classes, it is not like doing justice with the history option. That's why I am providing you 20 hours separate recorded lectures for this historiography. So you'll be able to write the answers or tackle the questions in a very effective manner. Then the second, reconstruction of history on the basis of inscriptions and coins. What are these inscriptions and coins? So these are the archaeological sources. I will discuss that part in the second lecture, that archaeological sources, what are the different elements of the archaeological sources. Again, there is a question, political history on the basis of epigraphic sources in ancient Indian history. Again, there is a question, archaeological evidences, literary sources, okay, how they corroborate each other for a better understanding of history. Again, there is a question, okay. I am just giving you some idea. In first class, it will be difficult for you to comprehend, but you must be habituated to get these lectures, okay. Likho, padho or bhul jao. Don't follow this approach. Now, there is a question that is related to Itihas Purana tradition that has been asked in UPSC. So, Itihas Purana tradition, obviously we were talking about the literature. That Indian historical tradition, explain it on the basis of Itihas Puran tradition. Shruti literature, should it be considered as the part of, okay, literary sources? There is a question. So we must know what is the Shruti literature, okay. About the accounts of foreign travelers, what are the, okay, advantages or merits, and what are the disadvantages or demerits, okay. This we need to understand, okay. Contemporary sources, what they referred about banking system. Literary and inscriptional sources, what they talk about the types of land, land measures and land tenure. So what do see here, that the sources has been linked with land, agriculture relations and all this, okay. Megalithic culture, okay, their Smriti traditions, their Alexander's invasion of India, post Mauryan period, okay. Buddhist writings in Sanskrit, coins of Kushana period, okay. Changes in the field of art, how we can explain on the basis of, okay, sources of history. So there are so many questions that are related to different chapters. So our motive in the very first lecture will be to understand basics, okay. And what is the basics? What is the syllabus that is given here, okay. Let me display the syllabus, okay, so that we could understand it better. For example, this is the chapter. So in the very first class, our focus will be what? So this will be our simple focus, that this has been included in the syllabus, right? these things have been included in the syllabus, and right, in the very first class we will adopt a very simple approach. This is topic 1, this is topic 2, this is topic 3. So we will learn each and every aspect that is given in topic 1, 2 and 3. This is my method of teaching, that when I will teach, we will discuss each and every aspect that is given in the syllabus. Got it? And once we will finish the discussion, okay, so we will have a holistic idea or understanding, and we will relate it with the basic historiographical sense and with the questions that are directly from this chapter only. Okay, and then we will shift to the next chapter, that is prehistory and proto-history. We will discuss each and every aspect that is shared in your syllabus, and then I will discuss that from sources of history and prehistory and proto-history, how many questions have been asked. This is what interlinkages between two topics. One topic is sources of history, and the second topic is what? Prehistory and proto-history. So these two topics have been combined, and the questions have been asked in your examination. Like the question of Neolithic age I discussed. Neolithic age kya hai? That is a part of a Stone Age. So if examiner asks this question, that archaeological materials, how they explain, how they are helpful in understanding the progress of Neolithic men, it means prehistory plus archaeological sources. This is interlinkages based questions. So if I will discuss each and every aspect, then you will be able to learn the module in a holistic manner, and this will take time. This needs your devotion as well. Okay, if I am committed only, if I am honest only in teaching, and if you will not do practice, if you will not maintain running notes, you will not think, you will not analyze, this will not happen. Okay, now the next chapter is Indus Valley Civilization, 2350 BC to 1750 BC. We will discuss each and everything about origin, about date, about extent, about characteristics of Indus Valley Civilization, about decline, debates hovering around decline. We will also discuss about the survival and significance, art and architecture. We will discuss about megalithic cultures in detail. There was again a question directly asked from this megalithic culture in 2024 mains. We will discuss about the distribution of pastoral and farming culture outside the Indus, development of community life, settlements, development of agriculture, craft, pottery, Aryans and Vedic period. Okay, expansion of Aryans in India. We will discuss everything, Vedic period. In this way we will do. Each and every lecture will be focused on different aspects that are given in syllabus. Period of Mahajanpad, 600 BC to 300 BC period, each and everything we will discuss. Mauryan Empire, 300 BC period, okay, or 400 BC period to 200 BC period. We will discuss each and every aspect of the syllabus. Okay, then post-Mauryan period, we will discuss each and every aspect of the syllabus. Then early state and society in Eastern India, we will discuss each and every aspect of the syllabus. Gupta, Vakataka, Vardhan, we will discuss each and everything. Okay, regional states, we will discuss each and every topic that is included here. I am not going to, for example, this Agrahara. This question was asked in 2024 mains. Okay, directly they asked questions from this. Okay, so we are not going to exclude anything. This is our very basic purpose, that whatever is given in the syllabus, okay, I will discuss each and everything. Themes in early Indian cultural history, okay, and early medieval period. I will also discuss that, condition of women and all this, cultural traditions. I will discuss each and every topic. Kallan Raj Tarangiri. Okay, we will discuss this in literary sources, ki Kallan Raj Tarangiri, why it is important. Okay, so there are so many things to discuss. So till here, chapter number 14, we are going to discuss section A. Section A. It means chapter number 1 to chapter number 14. This is what? Section A of our syllabus. Okay. So this is what I am committing, that when I will cover this syllabus, each and every topic will be discussed. Okay. The model will be not like this, ki read printed booklets by yourself. No. I will discuss each and every topic in the syllabus with you. This will be very detailed discussion. Okay. So I think that from this very first class, you have gathered some idea, but I know that the lecture is a little bit complicated because so many things have been combined. Now from the next lecture, you will be in a comfortable zone where I will discuss one particular topic. that archaeological sources. I will just decode each and everything. Exploration and all this I will discuss. I will discuss about material remains, potteries. I will discuss about coins also. I will discuss about the other material objects, tools and implements that were discovered, how they become an important source of deciphering information. Okay, so we'll discuss each and everything, so you will be in comfortable zone. Okay, so now you have two options before you. First, if you don't manage time to join live online classes, okay, so I think that not from 1st of June, but I think that from 1st of July or mid of July, the entire video lectures, it will be announced on, I will announce it on YouTube channel separately, that by what time these recorded lectures will be available. Okay, it will 1 month's back. I think that it will take, yes, I just think that July, 15 July, till 15 July, these entire video lectures will be available to you, recorded lectures will be available to you, and from 1st June, there is live online class. Okay, so the fee is the most affordable in the history of UPSC exam preparation. No one will offer this much affordable fee. Okay, 5,999, and this is not because I am new. I am not new. I am teaching for the last 10 years in this industry, but I was not comfortable in online teaching. Now I have developed skill. I have learned so many things in these 5 to 6 months, and now I decided that I will teach online only. Got it? I will not go offline. Okay, so this is a very radical change, paradigm shift in my life also. So what I want to say is that, okay, this is the most affordable fee, and when you will compare, I will say that each and every lecture, go and compare with any other competitor in the market. Compare my lectures, just do a comparative study. I'm very damn sure about the quality and relevance of my lectures. There is no any doubt, because I make a lot of efforts in designing the content and lectures. So I am very much sure that the quality is unmatched, much superior than the lectures that are provided in the market. You can analyze it by visiting my YouTube channel. You can watch 56 modern Indian history lectures that I have put to demo, and these are GS foundation videos. I have also put to demo 10 or 11 videos of ancient medieval culture. Total 65 AMC lectures will be live soon on my YouTube channel. There are world history lectures, so you can get an idea that the same model I am going to use in history optional program also. Okay, so if you think that not comfortable in live mode, so the recorded lectures are available at 50% less price than the live online. This is 2,999. That is the most affordable fee in the history of UPSC preparation, and the GS history is free already on my YouTube channel. And for Hindi medium students, entire history optional in Hindi medium will be free of cost. It will be uploaded on my YouTube channel. For philosophy students, Hindi medium students, entire philosophy optional will be free of cost and will be uploaded on my YouTube channel. But what the support I need from your side is that I am not putting money in marketing. So I am completely relying upon my students. So if you find that you are getting benefits from my lectures, free lectures, GS Foundation and all this, so you must like, share and subscribe the videos, and at the same time you should also try to promote these videos. You will share it with your other friends who are honestly preparing for the UPSC exam. Okay, because in our lectures there is सीधी बात, no bakwas, इधर उधर की बात नहीं करते. So these are the quality lectures. So I am also breaking this myth on YouTube channel that quality videos are not available on this video YouTube. Okay, so each and every video that I will post is full and rich in content and is in relevance with the UPSC examination. So I will need the single support from all of you, is that you must promote my videos. I am completely relying upon my students. So this is the single support. Okay, so now we will meet you in the second lecture. I will meet you, that will be the lecture 1A, where I will discuss in detail archaeological sources. Okay, so thanks for watching this video.